Yes, my people. Listen, welcome back to EMGM Sports. It's me, your boy Enzo, the realest in the game. And today, I'm glad to be joined by a very good friend of mine. Do you know what I mean? Zach Phee. Zach, welcome to EMGM Sports, bro.
How's it going, Enzo? How you been?
I'm good. How you been? How are you, brother? How are you?
I'm all good. Life's good. You know, I've been training at my new gym. It's been going really, really well. I've been learning lots of new things, getting good rounds in sparring. And yeah, I can't complain. Life's never been better.
Listen, Zach, we're gonna get into that. Let's not rush it. Let's just walk. Let's take it easy, bro. let's relax, bro. But listen, like before we even get into anything, just let the viewers know, let the people know who are you, you know, what weight class you fight in. Just give them a little bit of insight into who Zach Phee is.
All right. Well, my name's Zach Phee. I'm from Sittingbourne, and I'm 7-0 as a pro. I'm boxing for the Southern area, September the 7th, aiming to become Sittingbourne's first champion. And yeah, I'm Singapore by blood, Sittingbourne by birth, and that's me.
Zach, 7-0 as a pro. Did you have any amateur background?
Yeah, I won national title as an amateur. You know, I got onto the England pathway as well, so I had a decent amateur career. Short but decent.
Yeah, how many fights did you have in the amateurs?
I only had 16 in the end. I only had 16.
Oh wow. Would you say 16? Because obviously, look, there's been a lot of talk, especially with someone like a Fabio Wardley, who's never had an amateur career. Obviously, like he's been winning fights, he's been knocking out guys that have had amateur careers. Yeah. As a boxer, as someone that was a amateur, now you've turned pro. How important is it as a fighter to go through the whole amateur ranks and stuff? Is that vital in boxing?
I mean, vital, no. I think a good amateur background does help. So boxing to a decent level as an amateur, you know, I boxed to a good level. I beat kids who boxed for England, who won multiple national titles, you know what I mean? So it's not as if I never boxed anybody. I think boxing to a good standard as an amateur is important, but obviously there's a point of diminishing return where you're getting ready for these 3-round fights, and you've obviously got to learn and adapt for 10, 12-round fights. So if you're having 200, 300 or 3-round fights, how are you going to adapt when it gets to the 10, 12 rounds? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And for you personally, obviously as an amateur transitioning into the pros, what was one of the main differences that you noticed, like when you was making that transition from the amateurs to the pros, and also what was one of the main challenges of you when you was making that transition?
There's a lot of differences, you know. Obviously, I never boxed as a senior, so getting used to hitting the skull instead of a head guard's different. You know, a shot that might land flush on the head guard will slide off someone's head. Do you know what I mean? So you got to learn to punch a little bit differently. Because without saying, the rounds are longer, so if you get dragged into deep waters, it's not as if you hear that bell and it's over quickly. You know, you got to learn to survive and get through it. You know. Yeah, there's a lot of differences. It's a completely different sport. You know, you can be losing rounds but winning the fight. And as an amateur, if you lose 2 rounds, you've lost the fight already. So you watch like Canelo, things like that. They lose 3, 4 rounds at the start and then start picking up slowly. But you don't really get that benefit as an amateur. But at the same time, if you're going the other way and you're a good fast starter, but you fade down the stretch, then you get found out as a pro.
So obviously, okay, so for what I'm understanding from you is that obviously the fighting style and how you approach fights in the amateur is completely different to how you approach it in the pro when you turn pro. Does your training regime change? Do you have to like adapt when you change from an amateur fighter to a pro fighter as well? Does everything change, or is this still kind of similar?
I believe everything changes, you know. Some people say fighting's fighting, but I think learning to be economical is so important. And obviously boxing as an amateur is all about intensity. It's all about how much you can produce in that 9 minutes or 6 minutes if you're boxing 3-2s. But being a pro, it's about being economical, and it's about taking your time and picking up tendencies, patterns, things like that, which you don't really get so much in the amateur game.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I think like I kind of jumped my questions. The one thing I really wanted to ask you, especially at the start, is we hear so many stories about how fighters or how young men, young women get into boxing? Do you know what I mean? I hear people coming from the streets trying to get away from gangs. Maybe someone was getting bullied in school and then they took up boxing. They walked into the gym just to learn how to protect themselves. With you, what was the motivation for you getting into boxing? Was like someone in your family a boxer? Did someone approach you? Was you fighting a lot in school and you was naughty? How did you get about like finding a boxing gym and learning how to box in the first place?
I mean, I used to fight a lot in school. I mean, like when I was year seven, I remember like my first 3 weeks I had a fight, and then fight 3 days a week, non-stop really, because obviously I'm quite short. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a big kid. You know, I'm not a particularly intimidating looking kid. Do you know what I mean? So like a lot of the times people feel like they could try and pick on me, push me over and things like
Yeah,
that. So I obviously have to retaliate, and
yeah,
always retaliate double, which probably like when I was younger there was probably a few situations that escalated that didn't really need to get there, but then, being a small kid, half Singaporean, so I got called like chinky a lot, things like that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So that kind of spurred me on to fight. But then, yeah, so I had a lot of fights at school, and I kind of realised, hold on a minute, like, I'm quite good at this. Why don't I give it a go properly, So I went out to Singapore for the summer, as I used to do every summer for 6 weeks with my uncle. I started Krav Maga out there, and then I came back and started boxing there.
Okay, okay, very interesting, man. Yeah, see, similar stories that I hear a lot, man. And what age was you when you first started learning to box?
I was 12 when I first started learning to box. 12.
Oh, 12, yeah. And what was the first gym that you walked into to get your boxing like career, whatever, started?
Yeah, my first boxing gym was Rumble's Boxing Academy, and that was my whole amateur career as well, and my pro career so far.
Nice, nice. Listen, since you mentioned Rumbles, yeah, I don't even want to waste time. Let's just go into it. Listen, by the way, everyone that's watching this, I know Zach personally. So we used to be, yeah, where he trains, where he's from, that's where I'm from as well. Rumble's Boxing Academy family. But listen, there's been a lot of changes recently, to your whole boxing structure. Obviously, you used to be with Billy Rumble's Boxing Academy. You was there for quite a number of years. Like you said, you started at 12 and you did all your amateurs and you turned pro. First of all, how many pro fights was you training with Billy Rumbol?
All seven so far. I've only been at my new gym under Josh Pritchard for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so you jumped there. You go ahead of me there. You've been to a new gym. You was with Rumbles for all 7 pro fights. They took you from the amateurs. They've built you up. Now you've moved from Rumbles. Yeah, you've left Rumble's Boxing Academy. I mean, just tell us, like, just let me know, like, how you find this whole change, because I know how you fighters are, right? You're used to a certain structure, you're used to a certain style that your coach will embed in you. Now you have to make all these changes after 7 pro fights. Like, how you finding this new adventure, this new beginning that you've started, basically? How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's been different. It's been different. I'm getting used to the commute, the travel. Obviously, I've got a new job as well, new place to do my PT, so that's been different. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, where I was there for so long, I'm kind of now come out of it. I'm learning new things, and even down to like the way I throw my hands, the way I punch. My ethos around boxing is a lot. It's changing. My thoughts and views on boxing as a whole is changing, and that's from being around world class fighters, being trained in a world class team. I think it's about the right time that I moved on ahead of my title fight, and yeah, it's been different. It's been different, but all changes for the better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that. Listen, man, like you was there for years, you know what I mean? And I see you guys, great relationship, like family and brothers and stuff like that. Obviously, listen, it comes a point in life where people have to go their own separate ways, and you have to be selfish in it. You have to look after yourself. But has the breakup, I mean, in terms of the business relationship side of it, has it affected your personal relationship with everyone else at Rumble's, Billy Rumbol himself? I hope it hasn't, but has it impacted your relationship with them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said it hasn't. You know, I went from seeing Bill a lot. You know, literally all day, every day with him, and then obviously he's got a new job outside of boxing, and he's recently given up boxing as a whole. So yeah, of course, it will change our relationship with them, but at the same time, it's life. You know, you go get a new job. You know, people move jobs, people move like obviously footballers move teams. You know, change managers, things like that. It's just part of life. You know, and I feel like this is the right time for me to move on.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Nah, it's always going to be a challenge, you know what I mean? Especially after all these years that you spent with them. It's never going to be easy. I listen, like I said, I always hope that, you know, you guys can remain friends. And I always see us as family anyway. We're all from the same block, do you know what I mean? But if there's one thing that you took from Rumbles, like in terms of a strength, you know, something that was put in you, you know, I'm not just talking boxing. I'm talking your character as a person, your character as a man, because they took it from boy to man. You know, why is it? Why is it that now that you're moving on? Why is it that you took away from Rumbles? Yeah, that's gonna help you in the future in your career in boxing and your personal life as well. Like, what lessons did you take from Rumbles Boxing Academy?
I learned from Rumbles to never stop learning.
Yeah. So
That's
you're always a student. You're always a student.
you got to be a student of the game. And you know, my years at Rumbles, obviously, I spent a lot of time coaching things like that. So I was around boxing constantly. You know, we had that TV in the gym during the day. I'd be watching boxing on the TV or on my phone, and I'd always been trying to study and learn. You know, and I feel like that is the main ethos I've taken away.
Yeah. Listen, one thing I heard when you was talking about moving from Rambles to your new gym. Obviously, now you're commuting a little bit further. You're now training in London, and also you know you mentioned about a new job. You know, you're doing PT and stuff like that. Listen, a lot of people, especially the casuals, yeah, people that are not really hardcore boxing fans who don't really understand where boxing starts from. Like, do you know what I mean? Especially at the lower levels, you know, they probably watch someone like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and they see the millions. You know, they're like, wow, all these boxers are making money. But you're a pro fighter. You've had 7 fights, but you're talking about still doing PTs. You're working other jobs to fund your lifestyle, to fund your boxing. Yeah, like how does that impact your training at all? And how challenging is it to be managing a boxing career and also having to work at the same time, part time?
I'm very blessed in the fact that doing personal training sessions and things like that is very, very easy in terms of schedule. So they're
Yeah,
very flexible to me because my life has to be flexible because there is, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not as if I can say, oh, Zach, you're sparring tomorrow in Romford. And I'm, no, I can't because that's got to come first, you know? So if I
yeah,
worked like a normal job, it would be very, very tough, you know? I obviously always had to take in leave and sick days, things like that. And I probably end up getting fired. So it's very, very good from the flexibility standpoint doing personal training sessions. But I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't rather, not even rather, because I actually really, really enjoy my PTs and I'll probably keep doing them. I'll probably keep doing the ones I've got currently until I retire, like from boxing. Do you know what I mean? I'll keep doing them the whole way, even if I am making millions. But I, yeah, I'd be lying if I said that sometimes it wouldn't be easier to rest than go and train people and things like that, you know. But I was doing it for years. I was doing the amateur coaching, like at Rumbles, you know what I mean? And like amateur coaching, as you may or not know, I mean, you know yourself, you're an amateur coach yourself, is a unpaid job, do you know what I mean? So going from
yeah.
that to at least getting paid for the time that I'm putting in the gym is, you know, it condenses my time a little bit.
Yeah, nah, definitely. I hear that, man. But listen, you do your PTs, you're making money from that. A lot of the viewers, they want to understand the whole pay structure for boxers, the pro fighters. Do you know what I mean? Someone like you, you're 7-0, you're unbeaten. You're gonna fight for an area title, Southern area title. We're gonna discuss that in a second as well, yeah. But not giving anything away yet. How does your pay structure work when you have a fight? I'm talking ticket sales, percentages, how much you take home, how much you have to maybe pay an opponent, whatever. Just give us a little scoop, a little insight on how the whole pay structure works as a pro fighter who's 7-0.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a little insight. So an away fighter, which is what most prospects will be fighting, is like a journeyman per se.
Yeah,
Normally their they can be anywhere from £1,800 to £2,800.
Whoa.
Depending on how good they are, record, etc. Whether the weigh-in's a day or day before, things like that. Obviously, you've got to pay hotel accommodation. You've got to pay for their food. You've basically got to pay everything out for them. So,
Yeah.
being a home corner fighter, you've got to be selling good amounts of tickets. Otherwise, it's not worth it. You know. So yeah, so that comes out of the first however many tickets you sell. So say if they're £60 and whatever, the first say 40 or 50 come out of that straight away. Boom, that's gone. And then after that, you got a house fee normally, which is pays for the venue, pays for the ring girls, pays for the doctor, the ring, basically everything. If you're boxing on one of the better shows, i.e. top tier, pays for your promo, things like that. So you got to pay for that as well. So you're looking at a paying of about 3,000 to 3,000 to 4,000. Normally, it can go above that as well. It kind of got the highest I've had is 4,600, like paying, and then after that you get a split on the tickets. So you'll either get half after that, or they do something like they give you the first 1,500, and then it's half after that. But that's the way the ticket system works. So it is very very difficult, and I wouldn't recommend to anybody turning over unless you're selling 100 odd tickets.
Wow, that man, listening to that, yeah, I'm like, yo, I'm all right, man. I don't want to be a fighter. Do you know what I mean? Like, would you say, like, if, like, you said something about selling tickets, but when you turn over, you become a pro. If you can't sell tickets, have you got any chance at all of making it? Is like, does every fighter have to sell tickets when they turn over, or like, if you get signed by a promoter like Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn, do you still have to sell tickets if you're with one of them guys, them big promoters?
It depends how your deal's laid out. I can't speak for individuals' deals, but I would say this, that it is a lot harder road if you can't sell tickets than if you can sell tickets, because promoters will probably not want to touch you if you can't put bums in seats, because that is, that's the business, putting bums in seats. Do you know what I mean? So if people don't want to come and watch you, then promoters probably won't go near you, so you won't be getting those deals, so you won't be getting paid, so you'll probably have to turn to the away corner. And some people made it work, say like Sam Egerton, things like that. He's the only example that jumps to mind, but he's made it work for himself. But the majority of away fighters will end up with losing records and just box for the paycheck.
Man, that is challenging. You're hearing that. Listen, man, you kids, you guys out there, girls, whatever, you want to, become a boxer, turn, from amateur to pro. Just know, turning pro is not, that doesn't mean that's it. You've made it, mate. There's still challenges along the way, man. But tell us more about your upcoming fight. You're fighting for the Southern Area title. Obviously, you're aiming to be the first, champion from Sittingbourne?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah, so that's
right.
coming up. That fight is taking place September the 7th, I believe, and it's gonna be live on the Zone. So tell us more about that fight, Zach.
Yeah, so on September the 7th, I'm fighting versus Frankie Storey, who's won the Southern Air himself before. He beat Ryan Walker to win that. And yeah, that's basically it, really. It's the September 7th, Southern Air title fight, 10 rounds or less. And yeah.
Is this your first 10-rounder?
This is my first 10 rounder. My last one was an 8, but this is my first 10.
Yeah, how is the training more intense? You're having to do more runs. If you was doing 3 miles a day, are you now doing 7 miles? What's changing now? Is it just more hard work now?
I was always doing 7 miles, but where I'm at now,
12 miles now.
yeah, but I did 9.5 on Monday. But anyway, second to that, where I'm at now, the training's a lot different to it was before. So I was the only pro before, so any training that I did was kind of done by me. But now, obviously, there's a lot of other pros in the gym. There's Eddie Scottney, Caroline Dubois, Adam Azim, like around a lot of good pros, a lot of top pros. So we all do a circuit together on Wednesdays, which is good. Josh schedules my strength conditioning on the Tuesday and a Friday, Tuesday and a Thursday. And then, so everything's structured. I've got sprints tomorrow, treadmill sprints. Again, that's structured. I've got a program of what to do. So the training's getting a lot harder anyway, regardless of the 10 rounds.
So would you say now training with the pros, obviously before Rumble, you was the only pro, like you said. training with the pros, that's obviously that's going to improve you, innit? That's just going to make you a better fighter overall.
Yeah. I just want to say I wasn't always the only pro, and I was only the only pro for like the last month that I was there. But
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. You had a few pros there.
yeah, it was Tyrone and Brandon, and before that there was a few others as well. But towards the end, I did end up the only one. But yeah, it's different. It's different, and it's good to see like how these top class athletes live their life. They go training, go sleep, come back second session. Things like that. How they deal with their recovery. A lot of them like Willie Hutchinson's there. He's from Scotland, so he's got to stay there the whole week. He comes down on a Monday, goes back on a Friday, back to Scotland. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how these top class fighters live.
Wow, man. Listen, everyone, make sure, do not forget Zach Phee live on the zone the 7th of September. He's going to be challenging for the Southern Area title. This is going to be big. I'm going to be there. Everyone's going to be there because he's going to be the first champion coming out of Sitting Bone. Do you know what I mean? So everyone, make sure you go and support Zach Phee. I'm going to leave all the links for Zach Phee. Is going to be in the description, so make sure you go check him out. Tickets are still available, right, Zach?
Cool, sir. I got the tickets in the other day, and they're actually going really, really well. I think I'm gonna have a massive crowd there, and it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Zach, after the Southern Area title, what's next after that? For me, listen, I'm not overlooking this guy. I don't want to do it. Listen, in fact, I am overlooking him. I can do it because I'm not gonna be in the ring. You can't do it. You have to take him serious. But I think you got in the bag. I know your credentials. I've seen you train. I've seen you fight. I reckon you got this in the bag, yeah? Like, not looking too forward past this guy, but let's say you get the Southern Area title. What's next after that? What are we looking at now?
God's plan. That's what I'm saying. Look, man, I can't tell you what's after that because my life ends on September the 7th, I'm not thinking about September the 8th, September the 9th, whatever. My only goal now is September the 7th, and I'm willing to leave it all in that ring.
Nah, I like that. I like that championship. I like that champion mentality. What else I'm gonna say? Yeah, you're in the bantamweight division, yeah.
Super bantam.
Looking at that, huh?
Super bantam.
Super bantam division. My bad, yeah.
This title.
If you were looking at that division, or even a division higher than that, in the near future, let's say next 2-3 years, as you're building up, what fight are is there, like, when you look at the rankings, are there fighters that you're looking at, you know what, I could have him, I would love to take on that guy, do you know what I mean? I think I got his number. Any fighters that we know or the viewers know that Zach's aiming for in the near future?
No.
Any names?
I look at everyone. I look at everyone in and around my division, whether it be from flyweight to lightweight. You know what I mean? I look at everyone. I size myself up against everyone. When I watch boxing, I imagine myself in the ring against the opponent and things like that. I visualize it. I picture it. So there's no one in particular. I'm not really the sort to be calling people out, things like that, willy-nilly, because I think it's very, very stupid. Because I think unless it's going to happen, what's the point of me saying it? I could sit here and go, oh, you know what, give me a new way tomorrow. It's not going to happen. So what's the point? Do you know what I mean, though? So what's the point in me sitting here saying, oh yeah, I'd have him, and him? Do you know what I mean? I might as well just wait and see what comes up and say, okay, I'll fight.
Well, listen, you mentioned the name there, Inoue. Hey, listen, is he in your weight class?
Yeah, he's in my weight class.
Wow, man, what a fight. That would be one day, mate.
One day, God willing, but again, it's not as if I've got to fight. It's not as if I've got to fight with him on the table or a fight with me.
Nah.
Him, financially. So why would I sit here and go, yeah, I want him, I want him. Yeah, exactly, because it's not going to happen. It might, God willing, it might happen in the future when I build myself up. But at the moment, there's no point me sat here saying about it. Do you know what I
Nah.
mean?
Listen. Therefore, like you said, God's plan. You're gonna have big fights in the future. That's for sure, man. Listen, we're closing up. Any other things you want to say? Do you know what I mean? Any message that you want to give to the people? Them, just go ahead, bro.
I just want to say a few things. Thank you to my sponsors for sticking by me. Mount Contracts, Luke, that's a big part of my sponsorship. ATG Plumbing and Heating, Sam, New Stones Designs, Luke, KPL Signs, Kev, Empire Fight Store. and HVAC air conditioning. They've just been added to my sponsorship team as well. So I'll just thank you to my sponsors for standing by me through the change. Thank you to my one-to-one clients for standing by me through the change, and thank you to everybody who's buying tickets to my next fight, because I really, really appreciate the support. And as me and Enzo said earlier, I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys, you know.
Listen, Zach, man, we appreciate having you on the show today. Listen, guys and girls, I'm going to leave all the details for Zach. Is going to be in the description. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram. He's on TikTok. Are you on X?
No, I don't really use it.
No. Yeah, but you can find him on TikTok, Instagram. You know what I mean? Therefore, give him a follow, and also shout at him for tickets. He's still good. Tickets are going fast. He's still got some available. Do you know what I mean? So make sure you shout out to Zach Phee. Reach out to him. Do you know what I mean? He's a special guy. He's going far places. Do you know what I mean? So get to know. But Zach, listen, thank you so much for coming to join us on EMGM Sports today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, bro. Thank you.
But Zach, listen, you're gonna be a regular guest anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like after your fight, we're gonna do interviews. This is your house. Do you know what I mean? You're welcome anytime, bro. Do you know what I mean? This ain't gonna be the last time we see you here.
Of course
not.
I mean? Of course not.
But listen,
next
my people, thank you so much.
Interview, I'll have the belt across here.
Hey, listen, that'll be fantastic. That'll be fun. That one, we won't be remote. Do you know what I mean? We need to be live on the scene with them. I'm gonna have to hold that belt.
You can hold it. It's fine.
Yeah, man. But listen, my people, thank you so much for watching EMGM Sports. It's me, your boy Enzo, the realest in the game. Please don't forget to smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, because that's how you're gonna help us to grow. I'll be back real soon with another one. Until then, peace, my people. One.